Hello and welcome to this new format on my channel. As you have probably seen on the title, it's GeoGuessr but in The Sims 3. And I have to do some explaining as this is kind of a scurrilous concept. The Sims 3 has a ton of worlds, some original from EA, but even more custom worlds. And there's obviously no official world map for all of these, and that's exactly what I want to do with this series. I will try to find a spot in Google Maps that looks kind of similar to each of the worlds I picked out to then make a nice big world map where I put down all these worlds, like kind of the Inzoi map. So I can make my Sims travel very realistically and do some other cool things that you will see on my channel. For me to be able to do that, I put all of the worlds I could find in this very extensive list. I did this with the help of CJ's world reviews, otherwise this would have absolutely been impossible. So a big thanks to CJ for reviewing all of the great worlds that are out there. In total, this list contains 396 worlds, including the EA worlds. So there are a ton of worlds, and I had to cut down the number a little bit, otherwise it would just be impossible to put them all down in one map. So I started with putting them into size categories. I concentrated on using mostly smaller worlds and only use the big or very big worlds that really blew my mind by being so amazing. So a lot of worlds just fell out of my list like that. And then I also rated them in different categories that are important to me. And so I was able to cut out a lot of world through this procedure. And as you already see, I tried to put all of the worlds I want to use for traveling into their general area, and also here the countries. For the US I decided to already put down the state I think it would fit best, so it is easier for me to pinpoint it. In this view you can see the different areas I put the worlds in, and if I click here, all of the ones I didn't want to use are gone now. So you see there are still a lot of worlds left. And what you also can see is there are a lot of worlds based in North America, not especially because of the landscaping, but mostly because of the architectural style in these worlds. North America is actually the area I will start. So in this list everything is already sorted so that I can easily use it. The point why I wanted to start with North America is because I wanted to use this for my zombie challenge, which is taking place in Bridgeport. And Bridgeport I also put into North America, so if they leave Bridgeport at some point, I want to be able to make a realistic way through North America, or else I haven't really made a strict plan for the challenge, but it would be cool if I would be able to use this map as well. So that's why I start with North America. And for that I built this little helper plan. So this is the map I made. I just used a normal world map and painted over it so it looks more aesthetically pleasing. And with North America, I already started. So in North America, are these 3 countries. I'm unsure if this is geographically correct, but I just do this for a game, so I think it doesn't have to be perfect. And if I click on it, I put in a map of all the states, and then I made a little page for every state with a little front picture and even more pictures inside, so I have kind of an idea how each state looks. This was a bit more extensive with the US, as the US has a ton of states, so this took a while, but I hope this will help. And I also played a lot of GeoGuessr in North America, so I get a general feel how every area looks like. These are the worlds I already have put into my game and tried out, so I will obviously start with these. So I loaded up Bridgeport. Obviously, I think most people know how Bridgeport looks like, and it's this city type world with big mountains in the back and completely on a coast, so it is surrounded by water from this side. After googling a bit, I found out that Bridgeport is a mix of different US cities. I think the most influential is like New York, but as there are a lot of great custom worlds portraying New York City, I want Bridgeport to be in a different place on my map. So what I thought of is either Philadelphia, or what would fit better with my zombie challenge is maybe the West Coast, like Seattle or Portland. I do not really want to restrict myself to only coastal cities, because most of the Sims 3 worlds are just coastal worlds because it's easier to make. If you would make a world completely surrounded by land, you would have to make your own custom distant terrain or use the ones that are given by EA. And as this is also not that easy to perfectly line up, a lot of people just do coastal cities or islands because you do not have to necessarily use these distant terrains. So for some worlds I will just pretend that this is like a big lake or a very wide river, so I can place it somewhere else than the coastal line. And if I look around in Bridgeport, I see a lot of fir trees and absolutely no palm trees. So I can be sure that it's more in the northern part of the US. If I look on this little cheat sheet, so Seattle is in the state of Washington and Portland is in the state of Oregon. So I will just have a little look of the pictures, and as I see here, Oregon and Washington are both very mountainy states. So it is a good fit for Bridgeport, I think. Both of them would probably be an okay fit if I just choose it. But I want to take a little look into Portland, how the city layout looks like. There's also this long part that is surrounded by water, similar to what we have here in Bridgeport. But I think the main city part is actually more like here. And Seattle is very different because there is even more water. So this is actually a lot more similar to what Bridgeport is. I will look at some pictures here. Obviously, a lot of US cities have high-rise buildings. This is something I do not know that much from Europe. This is a bit like Bridgeport, but I guess Bridgeport could be just any city in the US. So I go a little bit more of the flora around in the Sims 3 worlds, especially in cities. And here I'm taking a little look at Portland. This seems to be a bit less city-ish than Seattle, but still has quite a skyline. And to be honest, in the end, it is just up to me how I want my world map to look like. And for my zombie challenge, it would be a lot more practical for me to put down Bridgeport as my Sims 3 Portland. So for now, I think I will just go with Portland. If you have any other suggestion, please tell me in the comments. In the beginning of every episode, I will show the map and how it is coming together, and obviously I will have time to look at the comments after every video, so I can keep an eye on your suggestions and can just look if there is a better option for the Sims 3 world I'm looking at. But for now, I will go for Portland, Oregon. Before, as I thought, I wanted to put it down as Philadelphia, so that's why the country said Pennsylvania. But I think Oregon is a better match, especially for the zombie challenge I'm doing. So this is kind of my concept on how I want to do it. Obviously, Bridgeport was a little bit easier to do, I guess, and some other worlds will be a lot harder to find a real life counterpart for it, but I will try my best to match it to make a nice map of all the Sims 3 worlds. And the next one I'm going to look at is the Isle of Oahu, which is a custom world. So the world finally loaded up. It took quite a while because this world is massive. It has this suburban area here, and over there is also a city part. And I said before that I didn't really want to use two big worlds, but this was an exemption because just look at it. The road work is amazing. Even though there are only these 2-lane streets in Crater World, this person somehow made it look like an actual highway. There is this golf course back here. This world is even completely populated and just so amazing. It really took my breath away when I first opened it. In the back next to the golf course, there's even a volcano, and there are literal woods, like so many trees and bushes everywhere. This looks so realistic. So yeah, there you have the reasoning why I use this world, even though it is massive. And if I look on the website where I downloaded this world, it tells me that it is an Hawaiian island. So I already know where to pinpoint it in Google Maps, which is nice to have. So I will go over to the islands of Hawaii. And as this is really a massive world, I also will go straight into the capital city, Honolulu. In comparison to the mainland US, Honolulu has really a certain look to it. The houses have I don't know, kind of an Asian flair to it. Probably because it has a similar climate like all of the Southeast Asian island nations. Most of these houses are paneled and there are not a lot of stone or brick houses. A lot of them are only 1-story, but also 2-story houses. And in the back we can see the city with high-rise buildings. From above there is this mountain in the back of the city and also this volcanic looking terrain here. I do not know how to describe it otherwise. Obviously Honolulu is on a beach, and to be honest I didn't even know that Honolulu was such a big city. I do not really know where it ends and the other cities begin. It's just massive. I also want to have a look at the port area here. Ooh, this looks so cool. I really would love to go to Hawaii at some point, but I know they have a tourist problem because it is a beautiful place, so a lot of people want to go, and when there are a lot of people, especially tourists, there is a lot of pollution, trash, and people disrespecting the nature. So tourists are probably not the most popular under the native civilization that lives at that place. But now I can just vicariously travel through my Sims to Hawaii without even spending a dime. I think this is what compromising means when you're adult. Okay, so I will just have a look into the Sims 3 version. So the city has also this little port part here. It looks a bit glitchy, like this bridge. I'm not sure if this would actually work as a bridge. This is kind of a confusing part, but this part of the city is just amazing. But what I probably should actually look like if the houses are kind of similar, like these look like carbon copies of each other, so I rather take a look at this part of town. It's just so amazing. I'm really thankful for anyone creating these beautiful worlds in The Sims 3 just completely for free. This is insane. Oh my god, there's this diner down at this beach. I know that a lot of trees and bushes really take a toll on the performance of worlds, but it just looks so amazing. And it makes a world just look so much more realistic if there are more trees, bushes and flowers everywhere. Like in real life, this would be the same. There wouldn't be just bare grass landscapes. There are just trees all around. And this highway in the back, it's just incredible. So I couldn't skip this world even though it is massive. I really hope that I can use it to make maybe a family trip or take my Sims on a honeymoon. So here we take a look at the houses, and as I said when we looked at Honolulu, a lot of these houses were mostly like with these panels and not a lot of bricks and masonry. But as it seems, this person took like their creative freedom, which is understandable, and just made a lot of these houses with stone. But still, they have this Hawaiian feel to it. So I think Honolulu is a good match, and I will just copy the link and put it down in the gap. And I'm done with the Isle of Oahu. And next it's Storybrook County. And here we are, Storybrook County. This is actually the world I mainly played in for the last years, as my game wasn't really optimized. and I had a ton of unoptimized CC installed, so I couldn't really travel or move a world. So this was the perfect world for me. It has this city part here, this little town on the other side, and even some farms. And the version I played in didn't have these islands. So the newer version is quite a bit different to what I played in. But this diversity also makes it quite hard for me to pinpoint it anywhere. It does have these big mountains in the back, but also some beaches here with palm trees. So I have to put it somewhere in the south of the US, I guess. As it seems, it doesn't have fir trees, which is a good thing for me. And I also want to take a look at what architecture I can find. These buildings have this brick on the outside, but mainly look very modernized, just very clean cut. So I probably can put it quite anywhere. Very cool. I really like the style of this world. And in the back you can see the city on the other side. I also want to take a look on these one family homes here. So they're like paneled, and also this house has paneling and also some masonry. More of these mix and match panel and masonry homes. So it does fit with the more southern type of architecture in the US. So I'm not really sure where there are some mountains, but I think this is the Appalachian Mountains, which are very wooded. I watched a little documentary which said that it is like kind of a jungle in the middle of the US. So maybe Atlanta, as it has these big mountains in the back. Obviously Atlanta probably has no palm trees, but I still want to take a little look. The trees kind of fit, but unfortunately I can't see any palm trees on these photos. And as I said, a lot of Sims 3 worlds have a coast, and I can't really put all of them on the coastline of the US, so I have to give myself a little bit of creative freedom. So I'm also searching in some areas where there's no coast. So here I probably would find some palm trees as I thought, but in the back it looks very flat, so no mountain inside. I think Charlotte is also not the best guess, even though it has a bit more of this southern vibe. The architecture is quite different there as far as I know. So this is the first world that actually is giving me a bit of a problem. Houston is just in a too southern climate, and I think all down here is just a little bit too southern for this world. So I will have a look around these Appalachian Mountains, but the background here looks also a bit too flat, even though it is right beside the mountains. So maybe a bit inside of the mountains. But the architecture is a bit too different for my taste. Even though it is right beside this mountain area, I can't see a lot of mountains in the background. I will take a look at California. Here is also a big mountain area, but I guess these towns are a little bit too small to be a Sims 3 version of Storybrook County. This is a bit too northern, as there are a lot of fir trees. At least I think I saw some fir trees here. Another option I have is just actually go into the edit town and just delete all of these palm tree and very southern looking plants to turn it more into a northernish world, which I kind of considering, as it is really hard to find a place that is so woodsy and mountainy but also has palm trees. But I will just have a look off camera and maybe I come up with something more fitting. So I just stumbled upon this map which is showing me where palm trees grow naturally in the US. This is quite helpful, so I probably will have to save this down. And I didn't even know that palm trees grow up until North Carolina. So I will have a deeper look into these states. So here you still can see the Appalachian Mountains in the back, and probably the palm trees are more on the coastal areas of the state, but I will go a little bit into the mainland. Here I think the architectural style is a bit too different. So I'm back at Charlotte, which I think I already decided not to use as the architectural style is also a bit too different. So I really searched all over, so now I'm actually considering the idea just to think away this coastal part and all of the palm trees and just concentrate more on the general architecture in Storybrook County and how the other landscaping looks like. I will take a look at my cheat sheet. So all of these states mostly have woods with fir trees, and as I haven't seen one fir tree in Storybrook County, I'm considering to go more like in the center of the US, maybe Arkansas, even though this also looks quite fir tree. I wouldn't really point it to New England because the architecture in Storybrook County is just very different from that, but also South Carolina has very different architecture, even though it would be such a good fit from the trees. Like, it has palm trees, but also like these very woodsy areas. But also, maybe I have to give it a chance again. But everything in North and South Carolina that isn't on the coast doesn't really have palm trees. And as I can see here again, it looks really flat in the background. And I do not want to waste so much time on one world. So I will have to decide. So I'm kind of thinking that I will settle on Augusta. It isn't a city that is too massive, which would fit best because Storybrook County also has this small town area and the farm area, but still has these bigger skyscraper buildings. I haven't really seen any palm trees on the photos I've looked at, but I think it is probably the best fit, so I will just copy the link and put it down here for Storybrook County. Okay, it's actually in Georgia as it seems, so I will note that down. And this is it from Storybrook County. So the next world I'm going to look at is Saint Manolia. Saint Manolia loaded, and it is more on the medium size for a world. And as you can obviously see, it is completely empty, so there is not really architecture that I could take as an indicator to where this is. This world has a very different kind of landscape than a lot of the other worlds I looked at. It has these cliff sides that are completely free from greenery. These white sandy beaches with palm trees, these very pretty turquoise beaches, and very southern looking trees like these blooming trees. Just an overall very pretty world. And I already looked for a place where I could put this, and the only mountains I could really find that look kind of similar to this are in Hawaii. But as we already have seen, Hawaii has quite a lot of trees on its mountains, and these are completely bare. So I will have a look around to find maybe something similar, and maybe some of you could give me help in the comments if you have ever seen a place like this, because I haven't. I also looked in the description of Saint Manolia, which only tells me that you will cross it on your way if you sail from Sunset Valley to Isla Paradiso. And I think Sunset Valley is more like a California version of the Sims 3, and Isla Paradiso is kind of here in the Caribbean Sea, at least where I would put it. So to find it on the way from California to the Caribbean islands, it would either have to be around here or maybe around here. Like first I put it onto Hawaii, that why it is even in this part of the videos, because Hawaii I also just counted to North America. But now I'm maybe thinking more like the Caribbean Sea here. There are some mountains in these areas, but a lot of these places are very overgrown with trees, not like Saint Manolia, where there are only bare bones cliffs. Maybe in this view I can more have a look. Okay, here are more like these brownish cliffs in the back, but still nothing that looks quite similar to Saint Manolia. There are these white beaches, and oh, okay, this in the back looks kind of similar-ish. Not really that similar, but at least a little bit. This is more like a deserty area, which I wouldn't really call San Manolia a desert island. There are no pictures available. Maybe from this place? No. Here? Ooh. Okay, I think this looks at least a little bit like Saint Manolia. I guess I'm just taking this, which is in Haiti. I want to also take a look in the capital, I guess. Okay, this is more like green than the coast on the other side. But as I said, I already looked at so many places, and this is actually the closest that I could find. Is this? Oh no, did I lose it? No, okay, I think no, okay, I think I lost it. Where did I pinpoint it? I thought it was this place. Port de Pai. Is there a picture of the mountains in the back? Mont Saint Nicolas, so it even has the saint in the name, even though it has nothing to do with each other, I guess. But yeah, I think I will use this link and give Saint Manolia these coordinates. I obviously will have to put down a lot of lots to even use this world, but it is so pretty. I just want to show you how detailed it is. They even put down these little telephone booth and all of these decorations, which isn't really that people decorate their worlds this nice, because it is also a lot of work to decorate places in Creator World. So this world is just too beautiful to not use it. There are even these little bus stations everywhere. It's just so cute. So I'm really looking forward to at some point use this world for whatever I may come up. And the next world I'm going to look at is Salmon Woods. And here we have Salmon Woods, which is actually a world that isn't coastal and also not an island. It is in between these big mountains and around a lake. On the first look, I see a lot of fir trees, so I would put it more in the northern part of the US. I'm going to have a look at the architecture. Again, it is a bit of these mix and match of masonry and this paneling. And here we have a complete brick house. I really love the street design, even though it is probably not that different from the one that is used in Sunset Valley. Here we have a house that looks like a cabin. Next to it, another house with panels. And then here we have some of the standard Sims 3 rabbit holes. Here are some very colorful houses. I really love this water that is going into the town back to this little artificial waterfall. So we have here another little lake. These houses here have their own little beach. I don't know, the architecture looks like a mix between very north of the US, but also just some very Sims 3 architecture. I really don't know how to call this. There are more houses here. Again, some more cabin vibes. Yeah, I think I would put this world more in the north of the US. Also because obviously all of these fir trees and these big mountains all over. So back to my cheat sheet. So Alaska, but I think Alaska is a bit more like a colder climate. So Washington, Minnesota, Montana, Oregon, maybe even West Virginia and Tennessee are a good match, I think. So I will take a look at Google Maps. There are a lot of lakes around, and maybe I actually find a good match that also is at a lake. Ooh, okay, very snowy, but not a lot of pictures available. I'm looking at some smaller places because Salmon Woods is also more of a smaller world, but this also means there are a lot less pictures available. Maybe Salmon Woods could even be a good fit for Canada if I think about it. So let's take a look. Yeah, I think like Yukon, Quebec, Manitoba, British Columbia, like all of them are quite woodsy and mountainy. And there are also a lot of lakes around here. North Bay maybe? Cute doggy. not enough fir trees. Whoa, okay, this is looking insane. This town just on this little island here looks like a Sims 3 world just in real life. But there are not really enough mountains around. Oh, okay, I think this is actually a good fit. There aren't that big of mountains as in Salmon Woods. But if I look at these houses, especially this one, it's very similar kind of architecture. So can I put down... Oh, okay, I can walk around here. Ooh, okay, I don't see any mountains. So it seems the mountains are a bit further away than I thought. Ooh, there is also this kind of colorful place. Okay, so landscape-wise, I think this is kind of a good match. It looks like there are actual big mountains in this area. I even can put down my little Google Maps guy here. Oh, okay, and I think the architectural style is also quite similar to what I've seen in Salmon Woods. Oh, okay. I think I'm happy with it, yes. Also this paneling and more of a cabin vibe. I just do not really know how to call this otherwise. A lot of mountains all over with a ton of fir trees. And also there is this lake. Obviously it isn't exactly around a lake, but in between the mountains, and this is good enough for me, so I will copy the link and put it in my list. And I think I'm going to end my video here. I hope you liked the idea and it's kind of interesting to watch. If you have any suggestions to improve the placement of these Sims 3 worlds of this episode, please leave it down in the comment. It would help me out a lot if maybe people who are from these areas or already visited it could tell me if I'm on the right track. I still have to change out these states, I just realized, but I'm going to do this off camera. So thanks a lot for watching. Bye!